Welcome back to our channel, where the air is thick with anticipation and a hint of dread. As Valentine's Day approaches, we delve into the darker side of this seemingly romantic holiday. Love may be in the air, but so too are whispers of chilling tales that will send shivers down your spine. Join us as we uncover spine-tingling horror stories set amidst the backdrop of Valentine's Day. From mysterious gifts with sinister intentions to haunting encounters with the ghosts of past relationships, these tales will make you think twice about celebrating the day of love. Prepare to be enthralled, frightened, and captivated as we journey into the heart of darkness on this Valentine's Day. As I opened the door on Valentine's Day, expecting nothing more than the usual silence of my empty apartment, I was greeted by an unexpected sight: a beautifully wrapped box of chocolates sitting innocently on my doorstep. I picked it up, turning it over in my hands, searching for any clue as to who could have left it there. But there was nothing. No card, no note, just a mysterious box of chocolates. Despite my initial wariness, curiosity got the better of me, and I brought the box inside. The chocolates looked exquisite, each one a small work of art, carefully crafted and arranged in neat rows. Against my better judgment, I couldn't resist the temptation and decided to indulge in just one. As I bit into the chocolate, a wave of sweetness flooded my senses, momentarily distracting me from the unease that had settled in the pit of my stomach. But as I swallowed, a strange sensation washed over me, like a fog descending upon my mind. Suddenly, I was transported back in time to moments I had long tried to forget. Memories of past relationships flooded my mind, each one tinged with darkness and regret. I saw the faces of those I had loved and lost, their eyes filled with disappointment and betrayal. I shook my head, trying to dispel the hallucinations, but they only grew stronger, more vivid. I was no longer in control of my own thoughts, my own actions. It was as if the chocolates had unlocked a door to my deepest fears and insecurities, forcing me to confront the demons of my past. I stumbled backwards, feeling as though I was being suffocated by the weight of my own guilt. And then, amidst the chaos of my mind, one memory rose to the surface, more haunting than the rest. I remembered the night of the argument, the heated words exchanged in a fit of rage. I remembered the look of fear in his eyes as I raised my hand, the sickening sound of flesh meeting steel, and then the overwhelming sense of horror as I watched him fall to the ground, lifeless. Tears streamed down my face as I relived that moment, the guilt consuming me from the inside out. I successfully hid the body, and I had tried so hard to bury the memory, to pretend it had never happened. But now, faced with the consequences of my actions, there was no escaping the truth. In a desperate attempt to escape the torment of my own mind, I reached for another chocolate, hoping to drown out the memories with sweetness. But as I bit into it, the hallucinations only grew more intense, more terrifying. I knew then that I could never escape the darkness that lurked within me, the sins of my past haunting me at every turn. And so, with a heavy heart and trembling hands, I made a decision. I would turn myself in, confess to the crime that had haunted me for so long. It was the only way to find redemption, to free myself from the prison of my own guilt. And as I walked out into the cold night air, the box of chocolates lying forgotten on the table, I knew that no amount of sweetness could ever erase the bitter truth of my past. I always enjoyed the arrival of Valentine's Day. Not because I had a significant other to share it with, but because it was a day filled with love and warmth, even if it was just from friends and family. However, as the years went by and I remained single, the holiday started to lose its charm. That is, until the love letters started arriving. It began innocently enough, with a single red envelope appearing in my mailbox on Valentine's Day. Inside was a beautifully handwritten letter expressing admiration for me. I was flattered, albeit a bit puzzled as to who could have sent it. There was no signature, no indication of who the sender might be. At first, I brushed it off as a sweet gesture from a secret admirer, and I couldn't help but feel a flutter of excitement at the thought. But as the years went by, the letters kept coming, each one more intense and possessive than the last. The gifts soon followed. The first year it was a bouquet of roses, the next a box of chocolates, and so on. each one accompanied by a letter professing undying love and devotion to me. It was flattering at first, but soon it started to feel suffocating, like I was being watched and controlled from afar. The letters became more and more demanding, filled with threats if I didn't reciprocate the supposed love that was being poured out onto the pages. I tried to ignore them, to push them to the back of my mind and carry on with my life, but they were always there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for me to acknowledge them. I started to feel paranoid, constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering if the mysterious admirer was watching me. I changed my routine, took different routes home from work, but it felt like no matter what I did, I was always being followed. The final straw came when I received a letter that detailed my every move, from the moment I woke up in the morning to the time I went to bed at night. It was as if the sender had been watching me all along, studying my every move, and it sent shivers down my spine. I knew then that I couldn't ignore it any longer. I had to confront whoever was behind these letters and put an end to it once and for all. Gathering all the courage I had left, I decided to stake out my apartment on Valentine's Day, waiting for the mysterious admirer to reveal themselves. As the sun set and darkness descended upon the city, I watched from my window, heart pounding in my chest. And then, just as I was about to give up hope, I saw him, a shadowy figure lurking in the alley across the street. With a surge of adrenaline, I raced downstairs and burst out onto the sidewalk, confronting the stranger before he could disappear into the night. He turned to face me, and in the dim light, I could see the twisted expression on his face, a mixture of obsession and madness. "Why are you doing this?" I demanded, my voice trembling with anger and fear. He laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Because I love you," he whispered, his eyes gleaming with madness. "And I'll do anything to make you mine." I backed away, feeling a surge of terror unlike anything I had ever experienced before. But he was relentless, advancing towards me, with a predatory gleam in his eyes. In that moment, I knew I had no choice but to fight back. With a scream of defiance, I lashed out, striking him with all the strength I had left. He stumbled backwards, his grip on me loosening, and I took the opportunity to break free and run. I didn't stop until I was safely inside my apartment, heart pounding in my chest, hands trembling with fear. And as I collapsed onto the floor, I knew that the nightmare was far from over, but I also knew that I had survived, that I had faced my fears head-on and come out stronger on the other side. As for the mysterious admirer, I never saw him again, but his presence lingered like a dark shadow, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows, waiting to pounce when you least expected it. And as I lay there in the darkness, I vowed to never let my guard down again, to always be vigilant against the darkness that threatened to consume me. I always loved Valentine's Day, the perfect excuse for a romantic getaway with my partner, Lisa. We decided to escape to a quaint bed and breakfast tucked away in the countryside. The picturesque setting promised a weekend of blissful relaxation. Little did we know, the tranquility we sought would soon be shattered by whispers from the past. As we arrived at the charming inn, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement mingled with a hint of apprehension. The old building exuded history, its walls whispering secrets of generations long gone. But love conquered any doubts, and we eagerly checked into our room, a cozy retreat adorned with antique furnishings and lace curtains. The evening unfolded in a haze of candlelit dinners and stolen kisses, but as the clock struck midnight, a chill crept into the air, sending shivers down my spine. Lisa cuddled closer, her warmth a comforting shield against the eerie atmosphere. That's when we heard it, faint at first, like a distant echo carried on the wind. Whispers, soft and sorrowful, seemed to emanate from the very walls around us. I brushed it off as a trick of the imagination, but Lisa's grip tightened, her eyes wide with fear. What is that?" she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. I tried to reassure her, dismissing the sounds as the creaks and groans of an old building settling in for the night. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The whispers grew louder, morphing into ghostly cries that pierced the silence of the night. My heart raced as I scanned the room, searching for any rational explanation, but there was none to be found. Suddenly, a voice echoed in my mind, chilling me to the core. "Do you hear them?" it whispered, its tone dripping with malice. I froze, unable to comprehend what was happening. Who's there? I managed to choke out, my voice trembling with fear. The echoes of the past, the voice replied, sending shivers down my spine. The tragic tale of love betrayed and lives lost. I turned to Lisa, but she too seemed to be in the grip of fear, her eyes wide with terror. What do you want from us? I demanded, my voice shaking with a mixture of anger and dread. The voice chuckled, a sound that sent icy tendrils snaking down my spine. Oh, just a little entertainment, it replied, its words dripping with mockery. A game of cat and mouse, if you will. I felt a surge of anger rising within me. How dare this unseen presence toy with us, manipulating our fears for its own amusement? But before I could respond, the room was plunged into darkness, the only illumination coming from the flickering flames of the fireplace. Shadows danced on the walls, twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes. And then from the darkness emerged a figure, its form translucent and ethereal. It glided towards us, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. I felt Lisa's hand tighten in mine, her nails digging into my skin. What is that? She whispered, her voice trembling with fear. I had no answer, my mind reeling with disbelief and terror. The figure drew closer, its presence suffocating, like a weight pressing down on my chest. We are the echoes of the past, it whispered, its voice echoing in the recesses of my mind. Trapped in this place for eternity, doomed to relive the horrors of our final days. I felt a surge of empathy, mingled with a deep sense of dread. What tragedy had befallen these restless souls, condemning them to such a fate? As if sensing my thoughts, the figure spoke once more, its voice tinged with sorrow. A love torn asunder by betrayal and greed, it murmured, its words a haunting lament. A tale as old as time, yet destined to repeat itself for all eternity. I wanted to reach out, to offer some semblance of comfort to these tormented spirits. But before I could utter a word, the figure began to fade, its form dissipating like smoke in the wind. And then, with a final whisper, it was gone, leaving behind nothing but an empty room and the echoes of a tragic love story lost to the sands of time. As dawn broke and the first light of morning crept through the curtains, Lisa and I emerged from our ordeal, shaken but alive. But the memory of that fateful night would haunt us for the rest of our days, a reminder of the fragility of love and the darkness that lurks within us all. Thanks for watching. To support us, please like and subscribe.